All right, so we are getting started. Hello, everybody, and for those of you watching us on the recording, welcome to another Rise Up Live cooking class. So I was going through some of my ideas for what I wanted to do for the cooking class this week because we've been focusing on using plant-based meals and we've also been using meal prepping ideas. So putting those together, I wanted to show you something that I prep every week or close to every week. Sometimes I can't get to it. Other weeks it's a little bit easier, but that's making some homemade stashes of nut milks. So I have some cashew milk we're going to make together today, and I'm going to take you step by step through how we do that. And then also some almond milk, and I'm going to show you how you can jazz these up with adaptogens. So this month, we are focusing on teaching you guys how to bring adaptogens into your diet to help support the system, combat stress. We have stress coming at us from all angles on a daily basis. So I have been finding when I've been doing the blood chemistry analysis that there's certain blood markers that actually will give me an indication that someone is under too much physical or emotional stress. And we find that once those stress levels are brought back into a state of homeostasis, that the body can then really pick up the healing, and you'll find that you can get over that plateau. Like if you've lost 10 pounds and you're wondering why you're stuck, there's a good chance that it could have something to do with the stress axis being a little bit out of balance. So using adaptogens on a regular basis can help you combat that stress and help you move forward. So that's one reason why I wanted to show you today some things that I do regularly that brings adaptogens in. So I'm really excited to share this with you. I think it's something that can take our game and our flavors of the things that we're making in our kitchen up to the next level. So I've been doing this for a few years, and actually when someone tells you that they're making their own homemade nut milk, it might sound a little bit intimidating, but it's the simplest thing, and it far outweighs buying it in the store because the flavor is so much more pronounced. Once you taste homemade nut milk, it's really hard to go back to buying it store-bought, which I still do when I can't find the when I don't have like the nuts available at home, or if it's a busy weekend or something like that, I will still once in a while pick up a half a gallon from the store, and that's okay. But on a regular basis, I'm trying to make it from scratch because I'm also avoiding all of those extra ingredients that I don't want in my diet. There's a lot of companies that still add carrageenan to their ingredient list, guar gum, other ascorbic acid, and things like that that don't necessarily have to be part of a homemade mixture. And it's so easy. You pretty much need a jar and nuts and water. So what we're going to do first is we are going to make some cashew milk, and this is going to be plain version of cashew milk. And then I'm going to show you a little bit later how we're going to jazz up some of this milk so it's a little bit sweeter, it's a little bit more decadent, and we're going to ramp up the flavor profile. So the first thing that you would need if you are planning to make plant-based nut milk at home is some mason jars, some lids for your mason jars, and they can be these white plastic ones that you can pick up on Amazon, or they can just be the regular canning lids and rims. That's fine too. You need a large bowl, and you need something called a nut milk bag. So I will link to this for you underneath the YouTube video or in the comments on the Facebook page. However, this is a fine meshed bag right here that allows the milk to strain through, and it holds the pulp from the nuts after we put them in the blender. And you need a blender. So I have been just going to use one of these for right now. I have been soaking 1 cup of cashews into a quart full of water. So there's some recipes that will give you some pretty specific measurements, like it's a 3 to 1, or a 4-to-1 with the water. So I kind of make it a little bit easier on myself, and I put a cup of nuts in a mason jar and I fill the mason jar all the way to the top with water. That's my measurement. So that's probably what, 3-to-1 ratio. So what we do from this point is we take it as it is, the cashews. We're going to talk a little bit later about how the almonds are different than, there's one more step involved when we're doing almond milk, but if we're doing cashew milk, I literally take the water and nut mixture and I pour it into my blender. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now without spilling, hopefully, fingers crossed. And save this stuff because we're going to actually pour the milk back into it when we store it. Okay, here we go. Oh. Okay, let me pour that a little bit out. Do a little half and half here. Okay, so I'm going to blend this, and you'll notice that I have to do this in 2 batches. If you have a larger blender, which I could have gotten mine out, I usually can just dump the whole thing in. Okay, so I'm going to put this on high speed for just a second. So I'm going to mute myself so it's not too loud for you guys. I want you to notice how super creamy this is. So this is completely delicious. I'm just gonna run it through my strainer bag to make sure I don't have any pieces of pulp in there. And then I'm just going to squeeze this mixture through. Cashews will have very, very little pulp compared to the almonds. All right, we're almost done with this part. And I just made cashew milk. I'm gonna set this in the sink. I'm gonna mix up the other half of my cashews real quick. These homemade nut milks make the best additions to smoothies, lattes, whatever you're making. And because I always get asked, about where I get my blender from, it's a Jamba juicer brand smoothie maker, and I love it. It's like a quarter of the price of a Vitamix, and it has that cool little cover that I put over it to reduce the noise. And now I'm going to go ahead and strain this through. And like I said, the pulp from the cashew milk is very minimal compared to what we're going to get from the almond milk, which we're going to do next. And this is it, guys. As soon as I strain this through, I put this in my mason jar, and it'll be good in my refrigerator for anywhere from like 3 to 5 days. It's kind of like milking a cow. Okay, I'm gonna give this nut bag a rinse so we're ready for our next go round. But I spend maybe a half hour once a week making milk for the week. Okay, so I'm taking a mason jar that I was using before. That's super foamy, holy cow. And I saw a question come through, so I will get to that in a second. So I'm pouring this back in. And I'm going to show you guys a really neat trick for what I do to label this to keep my milk separate. Okay, homemade cashew milk. It's the best that you can get. So what I do to label this, I take a dry erase marker, which dry erase markers write really well on glass. So I'm just going to make sure this is dry. And on it, I'm just going to write plain cashew milk right on the glass jar because it wipes off. Plain cashew milk, and today's date, which is, I believe it's the 9th. And it goes into my refrigerator just like that so that I don't get the milks mixed up because they all look the same once they're done. Okay, let's see here. Absolutely, Karen. Great question. Yep. So what I'll do is I always upload, and she asked for those of you who can't see it, Karen asked, will you post links on where we can get the stuff to make the cashew milk? So what I will do is after I get this uploaded to YouTube, I will post the links in the YouTube comments, and then I'll also post them for you underneath the Facebook thread in the Facebook group for you so that you can just click over, grab your nut milk bag, grab your mason jars, your lids, whatever you don't have already, and then get started. And I buy my nuts from Trader Joe's. I don't know, wherever you guys are, I don't know what you have available. That's something you can share amongst yourselves. If you have a great place where you're getting nuts from, go ahead and put it in the comments for us. And if you're watching it on replay, that would be a really great thing to link over. If you're finding that you're getting really nice deals on bulk nuts somewhere, let us know. Trader Joe's has such good prices that I just pick up my bags there. Okay, so our plain cashew milk is done, and we're actually going to use this a little bit later in one of our adaptogen drinks that we're going to be making. It's super decadent. The other one we're going to do is a cashew milk, but it's going to be a little bit of a twist. So I'm going to go through a similar process here with making it, except at the end, we're going to throw in a little bit of an adaptogen twist. So we're making an adaptogen nut milk. Okay, I didn't bother rinsing anything simply because I'm using cashews again. And I'm going to show you guys what this blender does and how well this cover works. So you'll notice the noise difference once I put this on. I think the most important thing to remind you guys to do is to soak your nuts. If I was trying to blend up raw cashews that had not been soaked, it would not be as creamy. It would take me a lot longer to get to the point where the texture is. So if you're in a pinch, you could probably get away with soaking them for an hour in hot water. It would probably give you a pretty similar effect, but I throw mine in regular filtered water in a mason jar and I let it sit overnight. So it's going at least anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, and you'll notice some of the oils start to be released from the cashews. It'll be in the water as well, so you know that the process is working. But I just want to, let you know, if you're in a pinch and you want it done for that day, you can soak for about an hour in hot water and you'll get a similar effect. So this first batch I'm running through the same way, pulling it through the pulp. But the second round we do, I'm actually going to add a mushroom mixture to. I know, surprise, right? Does it sound gross? It's not. Okay, I'm gonna rinse this bag out. And I never keep my cashew pulp. I keep my almond pulp occasionally. So if I'm feeling super ambitious, you can keep your pulp from your milks and make things like granola I've made before. Okay, this time I'm pouring the cashew in and the water, but I'm also going to open up a package of 4-Sigmatic chaga powder. So you can get this from Amazon. It's called Chaga Mushroom Elixir, and it comes in these pre-packaged serving size packets. You don't have to buy them from 4-Sigmatic. There are other options on Amazon where you can buy them in bulk and you can just scoop out a teaspoon or two as well. So we can make sure we get some of those resources to you if you don't want to purchase these separate packets. I find that these are what works for me. I use them so much more when they're already pre-packaged, and this one actually has organic chaga extract, which is an adaptogen. It's a mushroom powder, so certain mushrooms are considered adaptogens because they help your body adapt to stress. And if Kristen's hanging out there, she can give us more information on chaga. But this one has a mint extract and an organic rose hips extract as well. It even tells me that it's wild crafted, and I just really love everything 4-Sigmatic. So when I picked these up, I had a really good experience with them, but they can get a little bit pricey. So that's why you can also get mixtures online of 3 to 4 different medicinal mushrooms that have already been ground into a powder in a bulk bag, which are much more economical. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to throw this into my cashew water mixture here. And we are going to make chaga cashew milk. Okay, blend this up. Wow, just got a smell of mushrooms. Okay, I'm going to filter this through into my other batch. Like I said, I wish I would have thought ahead to grab my bigger mixer. I could have been doing all of this in one sitting. I have a bigger thing that goes on the top there. I'm going to pull this through. So now if I wanted a little bit of adaptogen boost, like say I'm making my morning smoothie and I wanted some adaptogens in it, I can use this milk knowing that I already have chaga in it. Okay, I'm going to pour it back into my mason jar. This nut bag gets a workout. The workout. I'm going to find my marker, and I'm going to label this one chaga cashew milk. But I want to give you guys a close-up look here. How delicious does that look? Yum, right? The ways that I make them. But right now we're getting ready to start an almond milk. And when I first started my almond milk journey, or my nut milk journey, I actually learned a lot from Oh She Glows. The Oh She Glows cookbook has a recipe in it that's pretty similar to the one that I like myself. It's called Creamy Vanilla Almond Milk. And this is kind of where I started to learn about doing my own nut milk. This is a vegan cookbook. I love it. I'm not vegan, but I cook some vegan recipes. So this is a pretty cool cookbook if you wanted to check it out. But this next recipe is a version of one that I learned from this cookbook. So she does not recommend doing this step, however, but again, similar ratio. You'll find that you have 3 cups of water or 4 cups of water to every 1 cup of nut. This particular one that I do, like I said with the cashews, I put a cup of nuts in, and then I just fill the rest of the quart mason jar all the way up to the top. So we're in the range there of the 3 to 4 ratio for sure. Now, the almonds have been soaking overnight, and what I do, you'll notice that the almonds look a little bit different because they have their skins removed. And I remove the skin because the skin contains tannin, and it can sometimes interfere with nutrient absorption. So I want to make sure if I'm going to all this trouble and I'm putting good nutrients into my body, especially with the almonds, I want to make sure that my body's doing everything it can to absorb them. So I take the soaked almond, and this is pretty easy to do. So I'm going to actually demonstrate it pretty close to the camera if I can. So there's the almond, and after they've been soaked, you can literally just pop them out of their skin. How cool is that? I'll do it again because it's so much fun. Okay, watch. It's like a magic trick. All right, ready? Pop. There it is. Soaked almond without its skin. So this is how I make my almond milk, is without the skins. Okay, I'm gonna get the, actually my 7-year-old, this is a great way to get kids involved in the kitchen. My 7-year-old did the whole thing. So I stood him at the sink and I asked him to remove the skins of the almonds, and he did it. It's so easy, it's fun, it's, I don't know, therapeutic. Could we add that to our list of things to do to de-stress? Okay, we got the question, what are adaptogens? So yeah, so like I said earlier, adaptogens help the body adapt to stressors in our environment. And they're a classification of herbs And there are mushrooms that are considered adaptogens as well that go in and help the body adapt to stress across all systems. So Kristen is our master herbalist in the group, and she put a Facebook Live last week in the Facebook group about what adaptogens are and what they do. So some of your common adaptogens are ashwagandha, astragalus, goji berries, schisandra powder, or the berry itself. I use the powder in smoothies. You've got these different types of mushrooms, the cordyceps, the chaga mushroom, the reishi. Those are all adaptogens that they have found that will impact your system in such a way that it's been actually proven through scientific research that it helps your body adapt to stress. And we have physical stress, we have emotional stressors, we have environmental stressors, but it's also talking about the stressors that aren't so common to us. Like if you're eating a food, for example, that is sensitive to your system and you keep eating it and you keep eating it and you keep eating it, adaptogens can also help to combat that stress that you're putting on your body and that inflammation that you're putting on your body. Not to the point where you shouldn't remove it. It's not a Band-Aid, but you have to be mindful that when you're using adaptogens, you can't just bring them into your system one day and expect them to be magic bullets. You actually have to prime your body to use the adaptogens. So if you're eating a diet high in processed foods, if you're eating a diet high in sugars, if you're exposed to toxins and chemicals on a daily basis, the adaptogens aren't going to do too much. You have to be making strides to detoxify and cleanse yourself on a cellular level. And then when you bring adaptogens in as a supportive unit, at like a supplement, and adaptogens you can use pretty much, every day if you wanted to, because they are non-toxic to the system. And Kristen, I really wish your microphone was working because you could jump on and answer these questions. But you have to make sure that your system and your body is primed and ready to go to be able to use these. So just like a supplement, really, if your body's not primed and ready to use, certain supplements, they're going to be wasted because your cell receptor sites have to be able to absorb those things. So adaptogens are very similar. Let me know if you guys have any more questions about that, more specific, and we can get those answered for you. So what we're doing with the almonds is we have taken the skins off to remove the tannins, and we have them soaking in a mason jar. So I've got a cup of almonds, the rest filled with water, and I'm going to go ahead and put that into my blender, my basin here. I just switched over to my bigger one, so this should help a little bit. Now to this, I'm going to make creamy vanilla almond milk. We're going to put some dates in here. So I have a few dates that I have been soaking in warm water. And same thing like I said with the nuts before. Soak them, it makes the blending process a lot easier. So I'm going to take 2 of these medjool dates. And if you don't know what medjool dates are, they are a fantastic sweetener alternative. I get mine from Trader Joe's. They're found in the refrigerated section. They look like this. They have a pit inside. You would remove the pit, and you can eat them just like this. I love putting peanut butter in them, and it's like the best thing in the world. But for a smoothie, or if you're making them and putting them in your milk, go ahead and soak them in hot water for like 20 minutes to soften them up. I'm going to put 2 of the dates into our mixture here. Okay, those other ones are for later. I'm also going to add some vanilla extract, so I'm going to put about a teaspoon in here. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of cinnamon. This is the best milk, you guys, especially going into the fall seasons. You can put any spice that you wanted in there. If you wanted to put a pumpkin spice in here and do like a pumpkin spice almond milk, hello, it's amazing. You could put nutmeg. It's just, the options are endless. I'm just gonna do cinnamon today because it's my favorite way to make it. And then I'm also going to put a pinch of Himalayan pink salt in here, just a pinch. It adds a little something to it. Okay, I think we're ready to roll here. So I'm gonna go over to the blender and blend this up. So almond milk is gonna have a lot more pulp than the cashew. So, oh gosh, the smell of the cinnamon is so amazing. All right, I'm gonna squeeze this through. Like I said earlier, I feel like I'm milking a cow every time I do this. Nice. Okay, so Becky, oh, I can't move, but someone said they need that blender. My poodles go absolutely crazy when the blender starts. I can't see who said that because I can't put my fingers on my computer right now, but my parents actually got me this for Christmas when my now 2-year-old was a newborn, so that I could still do stuff in the kitchen and not wake the baby up with the blender going. And it has been quite handy, I have to say. That's why I love this blender. Okay, let's go. And Becky said she makes almond milk quite often. Becky, do you ever put anything else other than the almonds in, like I did with the dates and cinnamon? If not, you'll have to definitely try that and let us know. This pulp with the flavoring in it is actually better to make the granola with than just plain pulp. See how much more pulp there is with the almond milk? It's taken me a lot longer to get through it. Yeah, good. Yeah, try it and let me know how you like it. And get like creative with it. The different warm spices, it just makes such a difference. Okay, I'm actually gonna save this pulp, so I'm gonna put it in my colander. Sorry, saving this one for later. I do try to do this once a week. And I like to get the kids involved. Like I said, I have the 7-year-old take off the skins of the almond milk, and he actually really likes to milk the cow. Do this part of it. Okay, I think I'm good. Get that out. I have to do this. Every time, I have to taste it. You guys have to make this. It's so good. Oh my gosh. Every time I make nut milk, I'm amazed at the flavors, how vibrant the flavors are. Okay, Kristen wrote us a book. So I'm going to read that because we had a question come in earlier about what are adaptogens. And she says there's several definitions used to describe these herbs, all with the same underlying theme of helping the body to adapt to change and stress caused by physical, biological, emotional, and environmental factors, internal or externally. They can assist in restoring balance within the body and help us defend against both chronic and acute stressors. An adaptogen is a substance that helps bring the body to a state of harmony with its environment by introducing chemical, cellular, and systemic balance. The harmonizing function reduces the effects of unfavorable conditions and stimulates the body's own immune and healing functions. These adaptogenic substances help the body to adapt to various stressful challenges presented by the environment and reduce the damage inflicted on the body's own ability to cope successfully with stress, thus prolonging well-being. So in layman's terms, adaptogens help to keep us healthy by helping the body respond to stress. Okay, what do you do with the pulp? The only thing I've done before is make granola with it. So if I have the energy after doing this video, if not, I can do it later. I put the pulp out on a dehydrator or on a baking sheet in the oven, and I dehydrate it so it gets really nice and crispy. One time, the first time actually, I tried to do this. I let the pulp out on baking sheets and I let them air dry and they got mildewy. So I learned my lesson real fast that it has to be like put in the oven or in a dehydrator and done purposefully. And then you can mix them with different granola type ingredients so that you're not wasting it. This flavored kind of almond milk is the best pulp to use for granola because it already has like the cinnamon vanilla flavor. It's delicious. Okay. So we have our amazing creamy vanilla almond milk. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Oh, let me give you guys a close up. Creamy. Okay. So if I wasn't teaching a class right now, the 3 milks would have taken me like maybe 20 minutes to do. These will last 3 to 5 days in the refrigerator. 3 of them is usually all I need for the week. And I find that my kids will drink it a little bit more too if I'm using the creamy vanilla almond milk. I don't always give them the ones with the adaptogens in them. Actually, I never do. That's for me. And I like to, and I can make my, in the morning when I make my mushroom coffee latte, I'm using a good like 3/4 of a cup of almond milk, and I like to use a cashew milk that has an adaptogen. And I've used chaga, cordyceps. You can use any of the adaptogens in here. I just had the chaga on hand. Okay, now I just wanted to, if I had another mason jar, I would show you, but I just wanted to let you know you can also mix nuts together. So I'm probably gonna do another one tonight that has cashews, almonds, and Brazil nuts because I'm trying to get more Brazil nuts into my diet for the selenium support for thyroid functioning. I've been struggling lately with some adrenal stuff, and I have some of those low thyroid symptoms creeping back in. So I'm thinking, you know, let's go in, support the conversion of the thyroid hormones and get some more selenium in the system. So I'm going to make a milk that has some Brazil nuts in it. So that's another thing that you could experiment with, is using different combinations of different nuts and see how you like them. You can always throw in dates, vanilla, and any spices you want, and it will take your nut milk game up to the next level. So right now, I'm going to show you how to make an adaptogen hot cocoa using some of the milk we just made. And then if we have time afterwards for anyone who wants to hang out, I'm going to do a peach pie smoothie. Okay, so I'm going to get my water going because for this hot chocolate, you need about a cup of boiling water. This is already warmed up, so it's only going to take a minute to heat. Okay, I'm actually just going to give this a quick rinse and I'm going to throw everything in here. So in my hot chocolate, I'm going to use 1 cup of the almond milk that I just made. I wish I had, let's see, I think my measuring, my liquid measuring cup is dirty, so I'm just going to put it in there. So I'm going to use 1 cup of this. I might not even put the water in this time. Okay, a little bit of recipe testing right now because I'm really liking the thickness and the creaminess of this. So I think what I'm going to do instead of adding the water, I'm going to add some extra almond milk. So I'm going to do 1.5 cups of my creamy almond milk. And you can see how fast this goes. That's why I make a few of them at the beginning of each week. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of mushroom cacao. So I use a brand called Enter Health here, and there's the cacao is here. It's not cocoa powder like you would see like a Hershey's cocoa powder that's refined. This is a cacao powder that is a superfood that's loaded with antioxidants, and it already has the mushrooms in it. So if you're picking up on a theme, I eat a lot of mushrooms, like whole mushrooms cut up, you know, roasted, stir-fried, whatever. And then I have mushrooms in my drinks as well because I noticed a huge difference in my ability to concentrate and my mental focus. I had less brain fog significantly when I started to incorporate mushrooms into my system on a regular basis. Now I've used other adaptogens too. I've used rhodiola before. I use astragalus still continuously, and I would notice upticks in like immune health and my ability to concentrate. But the thing that I notice the most, and it's probably because I'm getting a lot of them in my diet, are the medicinal mushrooms, and some of them are also adaptogens. So this brand, Enter Health, is a good brand, and the Four Sigmatic brand that I was talking about earlier also has the cool packets, okay? And they're already mushroom hot cocoa mixes. This one has cordyceps. So you can get them like this. You can buy them in bulk form. Like I really like this brand, Enter Health, partly because I met the owners of this and talked to them for a while, and they're really cool people, so I buy their stuff. But you can also go on Amazon and search for like mushroom hot cocoa. I would recommend it, you know, being organic, but see what you can find and then let us know. So I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of this in my hot cocoa. And like I said, I usually put water in here, so we're doing a little bit of recipe testing together. 1 and 2. Okay. 1 packet of cordyceps, some cinnamon, sea salt. I'm going to put a little bit of stevia in here too. So I'm also going to be putting some cordyceps to give this like a huge adaptogen boost. In we go. I'm going to throw some cinnamon in there again because I love the flavors of cinnamon vanilla extract together. Cinnamon. what the heck, I'm gonna put a little vanilla extract, a little pinch of sea salt. It's not a traditional hot cocoa. You could even put a little bit of like a chili powder in here too if you wanted to heat it up. Now I could put dates in here like I did before, but I'm gonna grab a packet of stevia. So I have 1 packet of stevia I'm putting in there, and I'm gonna go ahead and blend this up. Where's my lid? There it is. The only downside of using the cold almond milk, you have to warm it up. So you guys, this is so frothy and foamy. Doesn't that look like the best hot chocolate ever, even though it's not hot yet? And I'm not gonna, I don't use my microwave a lot, so I would actually throw this in a saucepan on the stove and warm it up. I'm not gonna do that right now, but I do wanna get an idea of what the flavor's like. Oh my gosh, this is perfect. I don't know if you can't see that. You can a little bit. That's what we're working with right now. Oh yeah, we're writing that recipe down, you guys. That is amazing. Okay, so you got to try this. It's so, so good. Even cold is good. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to write this down for you guys. Okay, so let's see. Kristen said, I'll do a video in the Facebook group this week on what to look for when you're purchasing mushrooms. Awesome. So everybody look forward for that. And Becky said, I've had the Inner Health cocoa powder. It's delicious. It's so good, right? I'm glad you've had it and are totally backing me up with that because I agree. I love it. Now, so that is going to conclude our class for today. Like I said, I will post a replay into the Facebook group. I'll email it out to you, and we'll also have it over in our YouTubes, and I'll end up at some point putting it into the membership site as well, along with links. And then I'll make sure you guys get my recipes as well, because it's one thing to watch it through, but if you want to duplicate it, I'll make sure that I give you guys my recipes too, so you'll have everything that you need. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but then I will hang out for any of you who have any questions. Have a good afternoon or evening or morning, wherever you're tuning in from, everybody, and I will see you inside Rise Up. Bye, everybody.